Hello and welcome to episode 12 of Formorsport, the show where we talk about all things football. My name's Johnny. If you're new to us, I'm joined by my partner in crime, Chris, and very, very long-term joiner and new recruit to the squad, Keith. Not wearing his Man United top today,
Good evening.
but he's still here with us. How are you guys all doing?
Keith, do you want to go first?
I'm good. Yeah, I'm looking forward to an abrupt end to the week tomorrow, and what they call a fake Friday tomorrow.
Yes. And what about you, Chris? How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm good. Liverpool got a game in about an hour.
Yeah.
So the butterfly is kicking in a little bit, but apart from that, yeah, I'm good. I'm good.
So for those of you, if you are just tuning in, thank you so much for watching the show. We are new. We are still growing. We're almost at 25 subscribers, Chris and Keith. Can you believe that? Starting out only 3 weeks ago, we've got 25 subscribers joining us and watching us in the show. So thank you so much. If you are new to us, hit that thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell so you don't miss any of our future videos. Just to let you know that our shows go out every Wednesday and every Sunday at 7 p.m, where we talk about all things football, usually a rundown or a recap of what's happened in the week, any sort of news or any sort of things that are going on in the world of football. We try our very best to discuss it and talk about it. We love our clubs. I'm an Arsenal fan. Chris supports Liverpool, and Keith supports Manchester United. But we have so many other guys here from Chelsea. We have, and the group is getting bigger, which is really good. So that when we spoke last on Sunday, it was a bit of a sad weekend. Obviously, Manchester United.
For who?
It was a sad weekend for myself and for Keith. Obviously, Keith's team went to Everton and were beaten. We were beaten at home by Brighton, and there was this top of the table game between Liverpool and Man City. Ended up being a very boring 2-2 draw. But but we are going to hit the week flying. And if you haven't seen the thumbnail, which I spent ages trying to make, painstakingly trying to work out how Canva works, because I'm not that technically minded, you'll see that Benzema has joined us in the thumbnail. Mega Big Al, greetings to you. He says that Chelsea were robbed. Do you know? So I didn't actually know who Mega Big Al was, but my wife let me know. She said, "You do know who that is?" I said, "Absolutely have no idea, but I do now." But Chelsea were robbed. I don't know. I think the game was decided at Stamford Bridge. I think that was where the game was lost. You needed to do a little bit more, but unfortunately it didn't work out. And I'm sorry. I just want to mention Roger was meant to be with us today, but unfortunately he hasn't been so well. I'm not sure if he's unwell due to the result of yesterday or. But we wish you, a very speedy recovery, Roger, and we hope to see you.
Second parrots come to mind.
Yes, I know. But we are going to start because obviously. Mega Big Al has said he said that Chelsea were robbed. It was an absolutely brilliant game. Chelsea went to Spain to the Bernabeu Stadium to play Real Madrid. They were beaten 3-1 at home. Benzema hat-trick, but Havertz scoring a goal in the first leg put them in the tie. And then the game started. And I'm going to open this up because I want your impression of what happened in that game, because it was quite a good game, don't you think? I'll start with you, Keith. Go on. What's your impressions of that game from yesterday?
It was astonishing. It was a real spectacle.
Yeah.
And I think what it demonstrates to me is that I don't always get on board with rule changes very quickly.
Okay.
But I think that this is a real prime example of why the away goals rule was right to be scrapped. Because I think it meant that teams now just go for it, whether they're home or away. There's none of this chess, cat and mouse nonsense. Try and keep a clean sheet at home, blah, blah, blah. it's just 2 games of football,
Yeah.
and anything can happen. And I think that was a prime example of how getting rid of the away goals rule has made, because it meant that if Chelsea had won 2-0, they would have taken it to extra time, and suddenly you haven't got that whole we have to match the away goals thing. So I think it made a very, it would have made, I think it would have made it a much more of a mountain to climb for Chelsea had the away goals rule still have stood. But I think going there knowing that 2-0 would have been enough gave them that incentive to go out and attack. And to be fair, they were on the front foot all the way through.
Yeah.
I was amazed at how the bravery that Chelsea actually showed. I think Mason Mount's goal was a stunning effort. That was
really good. Yeah.
Great bit of technique. I mean, what can you say? That the players like Modric, they only need a moment, don't they? And they can turn
a game.
That's what great players do. But up until that point, it was like, wow, they're actually going to do this. I thought they were going to do it.
Just a quick mention from Roger says, really proud of the boys to go there and get 3 goals against Real Madrid was a monumental achievement. Shame we ran out of steam and ended up as the losers. I don't even know whether it was they ran out of steam. I mean, Chris, what's your take on the game yesterday from your observations?
Yeah, I mean, I would echo the sentiments of Keith to a degree. They knew that they need to score 2 as opposed to 3 if their away goals rule was still in place. 2 is better than 3. So they went for it. They got the 2. I can't remember if away goals would only come into effect after extra time, because then it really would have been quite interesting. They've got a 2-0, take it to extra time. They still would have needed the third goal. But, look, whatever it is, I actually felt Chelsea played really, really well. Amazing. I thought they dominated the game in the 90 minutes. And I agree with Roger. I actually think they did run out of steam.
Oh, okay.
For me personally, I don't think it was a case of Real Madrid did anything spectacular. But let's be honest, the path from Modric, which gets them that goal and then they turn the game on its head, that's a 4-minute period, right? It's a 4-minute period. And then after that, I think Chelsea are like, well, we have to try and get ourselves up for another goal. And it's tough. They've already got 3 at the Bernabeu. You're asking them to go. It's hard. So I do think they ran out of steam. But did Real Madrid do anything spectacular? No. There was a 4-minute period. They got the 2 goals. And then they just kind of saw out the game, really. Because
to be fair, their game management at the end was Atletico-esque, wasn't it, really?
Yeah.
What they were doing.
They squeezed out I mean, the thing is, I love the way you said Atletico-esque. It's so true. If we break that down, obviously, once Mason Mount had scored the goal, you could feel there was an element. I was listening to the commentary, and I think it was Hoddle was. You could see he was nervous, even in the way in which he was commentating, but you could just feel there was a sudden change. Real Madrid seemed to feel a little bit. They may not have shown enough respect. I don't know, because it seemed like 2 different games. I don't know if their stall was to just see it out. Were they trying to shut the door on Chelsea to stop them being able to score goals? It wasn't going to work. Chelsea were really up for it. Then obviously the Rudiger goal, the header, and then they started to think, well, actually, this really, this could happen. Like, this really could be real. I think when Timo Werner, and I don't know, I was texting Robert at the time when we were watching the game, and I actually said to him, it was only a few days ago that we were saying that Werner needs to be the first one out of Chelsea.
No, that was not me.
And I said, and you know what? I said that Werner needs to leave. And I think Roger had said that Loftus-Cheek is not worthy of the Chelsea shirt. I mean, don't get me wrong, Roger, I don't know if you're going to admit it now, but you weren't too happy with Ruben Loftus-Cheek. You certainly weren't happy with Werner, because I know I wasn't. And then out of nowhere, he pops out, gets the ball on the left, runs, cuts inside. And even when he cut inside, I went, he's overcooked it, he's overdone it. And he puts the goal in. And I can only imagine that West London erupted into just, we're going to do it. It's going to happen. Now, keep in mind that Timo Werner's goal was at 75 minutes. So at that moment, you are looking and thinking, well, Chelsea, I as you may have seen, I went Chelsea for the final. Chelsea to retain. Do you remember Chelsea to retain the
yeah, I remember that.
I did think to myself this, because obviously, for those of you that don't know, we've kept in contact, via messages during the game, and it did seem at that moment, at that very moment, that the tide was turning. Very quick shout out to Sally. Hi boys, have a good one. Thank you so much for coming and popping in and chilling out and hanging out with us with Football Talk. Sally herself has admitted she knows nothing about football, but she's here supporting us. So thank you so much, Sally.
She'll fit right in.
She'll fit exactly. You're among friends here. Ruben Loftus-Cheek played immensely last night. Werner also a constant threat. Both players did themselves a big favor. So yes, it's very, very true, Roger. So so just the scene is they are playing away from home against one of the best teams in Europe, against one of the best strikers in Europe, and they are 3-0 up. And then Modric. Now, I don't know if you have we spoken.
Are we not going to deal with the elephant in the room?
And the elephant in the room is
Alonso's goal.
Yes, the very blatant handball decision.
We were robbed. Come on.
Hold on, wait. All the Chelsea fans right now are trying to find my address to kill me. But wait, let me just get the grenade. Fire in the hole. Listen, rules are rules. Did he touch the ball with his hand?
Yes.
Yeah.
Correct. The letter of the law is if the ball hits his hand, whether accidental or on purpose, what happens next?
As an attacker, they completely disallow the goal. But as a defender, they let you get away with it because that is fair.
So let me hold on. You don't have to keep bringing that up, Johnny. Yes, I do. You know why? Because I know it annoys you, so I do it all the more. I'm only joking, Mum. Only joking. Anyway, Roger clearly states, and I don't think we're going to get him off of that they were robbed. Now, don't get me wrong. That would, had the goal stood, yes, we would be at penalties, wouldn't we? It would have been a penalties if that goal was.
Yes, that's right. Yeah,
it would have gone to penalties. So yes, and then obviously anyone could have won.
No, it wouldn't. Because
it would have been
Real Madrid's goal was in extra time.
Yes. So the game would have been decided, but the facts are the facts.
Yeah.
The decision, the rule book, as stipulated by FIFA and UEFA and whoever else, states that if the ball hits your hand, have you gained an advantage? He gained an advantage by that ball hitting his hand.
Right, hold on. Okay, and I don't disagree. But there's a couple of things where, for me, it doesn't sit right. And obviously, we can't change it here.
No.
Right? I was educated yesterday by the fact that I didn't realize if you're an attacker and it hits your hand, whether it's an assist or it leads to a goal, it's disallowed immediately.
Yeah, annulled.
Right? But as we were discussing it yesterday, his hands, where is he supposed to put them? Because
I know
he didn't gain an advantage. They weren't in an unnatural position. It hit his hand so slightly. He scores. Right?
Yeah.
Had it happened to a Real Madrid player who was defending at the time, if it's deemed as accidental, we would carry on with the game.
Yeah.
I can't understand that.
Well, I mean, don't get me wrong.
Just a quick clarification there, Chris.
Sorry,
the assist thing back in, I think it was 2 seasons ago. It was any handball that happened in the build-up to the goal.
Yeah,
but there was a case where, and I'm trying to remember who it was. I think it might have been Fulham last season, where the ball ricocheted off an attacker.
Yeah,
and he turned and played in a another player, and the player scored, and the goal was disallowed.
Right.
And everyone was in uproar about it because it was like, well, it was the player that got the assist, and I
Right.
think the FA changed whoever it was changed the rule.
Okay.
That you can as an assist, because remember when Man United went out of the FA Cup to Middlesbrough, their goal ricocheted off of the guy's hand, but because he didn't score it, because he didn't score it himself, he then passed it. They gave it.
Okay. So keeping that in mind, obviously, Bloods was running high with that disallowed goal. I could see Alonso thought, "Yeah, I've done it. We are, into the semi-finals." It gets disallowed. Obviously, we have a situation where it's 3-0. Then Rodrigo gets the pass of all passes on the outside of his foot. Modric puts in Rodrigo, and he scores, and suddenly the whole tide changed. The atmosphere in the ground changed. Real Madrid suddenly thought, actually, maybe we can get a result here. And yeah, crazy, right? Don't you think? Isn't it amazing how one goal, one moment in time can completely change a tie? It's quite amazing, isn't it? In fact, actually, when we Rogers put something about still carrying memories of how we were robbed by Barcelona, about 4 penalties not given. Drogba went ballistic. Now I can't repeat what Drogba said, but I remember him going this, and I remember him saying it was a disgrace. It was a disgrace, and he said that on live television. And I must admit, it was one of the funniest things I laughed so hard.
I thought that for me, I was.
Don't get me wrong. At that time,
I don't think I have ever seen a worse referee.
Oh, it was terrible.
Than that.
But
I mean, the final one where Ballack.
Oh yeah, he was all over the ref
with his arm above his head.
Yeah,
and blocks it and doesn't get. I'm sitting there scratching my head, going, "What does he think he's seeing?"
There was obviously an agenda. We can't. We're not even going to talk about that because we're disrespecting Real Madrid and Chelsea teams here. But yes, Roger, you're very, very correct. There were a lot of decisions that obviously didn't go the way, but then what it's like with football. These things happen. It's frustrating when you're on the losing side. Obviously, Benzema again with his head gets the goal that changes the game completely now. So I don't know if you remember, but the goal that Rodrigo scored was started by a Kante slip. He loses the ball, he's robbed, and basically they get through. Karim Benzema's goal is because of a slip, because of Rudiger. 2 massive things that happen based on slips in the game.
You know all about slips, don't you, Chris?
I do.
And obviously Chelsea have benefited. I
was waiting for that.
Chelsea have benefited over the years from slips. So it swings and roundabouts, as they say. Chelsea were the better team on the night. They played amazingly well, and don't get me wrong. As an Arsenal fan, I'm taking my hat off to what Chelsea have achieved. Over the last 12 months, they have achieved amazing things, and I wouldn't even, if they had beaten Real Madrid, it wouldn't have surprised me because I thought the way they started the game and went at them. But this is how
But listen. I know you're giving credit where it's due, but they won the game. I think a lot of people are forgetting.
Yeah. Obviously, it's overall
at the Bernabeu.
And how good was Reece James as well?
Man. But he wasn't. When you say that, there were a few times where he got skinned by Vinicius Junior, though.
Nah.
They had a tussle. Vinicius Junior. They were tussling.
He weren't in the game.
They were tussling all game.
I think,
but he kept him. Properly.
Well, he was better than Christensen. What's his name?
Yeah, Christensen.
He was better than Christensen was last week. I'll give him that.
For me, I looked at that and I said, "Wow!" The only time Benzema gets a ball from Vinicius is the one time
I know.
lost the ball and James is out of position. Because
Yeah.
if James is in position, Vinicius is not getting that cross to Benzema. He's not.
Yeah. Yeah.
He had him all game. He was
Yeah.
brilliant. I thought
Great strikers need one chance.
that's
and,
it.
And
That's it.
don't get me wrong, Vinicius may have been in James's pocket for most of the game, but it only took one time for him to not be in his pocket, and the game's completely changed in its head, and Real Madrid are now going through to the next round. Now let's move on, because obviously I don't want to hurt Robert anymore, or any other Chelsea fans that may have checked in with us today. And I appreciate if you are here, thank you so much. Hit the thumbs up, please.
And if you'd like to follow us, Johnny's going to put the ticker on just in a second.
And I'm so glad that you reminded me of that. Thank you so much. That's my mistake there. Sorry. Thank you. So there was another game. Now, this is the biggest shock for me, because, and I'm going to be very honest with you, when I saw the Bayern Munich Villarreal first leg 1-0 win, I was like, Bayern Munich are going to go to the Allianz Arena and they're going to score 8 goals like what they did against Salzburg. But yesterday morning, I was listening to TalkSport, and one of the commentators was saying that Villarreal is not Salzburg. They are a very, very different outfit. They have a very, very good setup. A lot of players from the Premier League. They've got a lot of players that are ex-Tottenham players, and they've got other players that have been in the Premier League, know how to play the game, know how to and to eke out results. I could not believe my eyes when I realized that Villarreal had equalized. Well, it was 1-1, wasn't it, on the night, knocking Bayern Munich out. Could not believe it. And I think I sent a message saying, because in my mind then, with Bayern Munich out, I kind of said to myself, it's going to be an English team that picks up the Champions League this year.
Oh, wowzers.
I believe it's going to be Liverpool. I'm as you know me already. I don't sit on the fence. I think that today's game with Atletico Madrid and Man City is not going to be an easy walk in the park. It would not surprise me if Atletico were able to get a result. It wouldn't surprise me. Just would not surprise me. But I think now, in my opinion, and obviously I want you guys to give me your opinions, but I don't think anyone is stronger than Liverpool to win the Champions League final, the Champions League this year. Prove me wrong, gentlemen. What's your take on what I've just said?
Okay, can I take this, Keith? Johnny, a couple of weeks ago, you said Liverpool were going to be playing Bayern Munich.
I did.
100%. I feel that you can probably put your neck on the block because it's not your team. And regardless of what your prediction will be, you will not get banned for getting it wrong.
The beauty of being a neutral.
So for me, because you don't play football on paper and it's on the pitch, I will not go as far as to say you got to take each game as it comes. Beat Benfica first and then deal with what comes next. Obviously, you look at it and you say, oh, Villarreal, but they've got Unai Emery as the manager, and he has got European pedigree that arguably is better than Klopp's. He's not an idiot, but I think people just don't get that. They want star names, they got this, they got that. But if he's got team ethic, if it wasn't for Manchester United, they wouldn't even be here right now. Do you understand what I mean?
Yeah.
Right? Because they didn't qualify via the league, they had to win the Europa. But he knows how to get his team over the line.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, you got to deal with Benfica first. But I just don't think it's as easy as it sounds. And then also to say Liverpool,
Chris, before we start talking about Benfica, obviously I'm here saying I apologize to anyone that listened to me earlier on where I said that Bayern Munich were going to embarrass Villarreal and score lots of goals. It didn't turn out that way. I made the mistake of respecting the pedigree of Bayern Munich. I assumed that because Bayern Munich have the pedigree of
Mm.
always being there or thereabouts, that I didn't factor in, actually, are they playing well enough to beat Villarreal? I didn't do that. And so Villarreal are now in the next round, and Bayern Munich are now chilling, winning the Bundesliga. Keith, what's your take on the
I
Bayern
know a
Munich
few
game?
Arsenal fans, and a lot of them over the course of the last couple of years have thought, were we too hasty with Emery?
Yeah.
So you've got a manager there who's actually very good, and maybe wasn't given enough time, and maybe had the poison chalice of having to follow Wenger, which is always going to be difficult.
Yeah.
But to me, Villarreal, I mean, they are a bit like the who's who of Premier League squad players, aren't they? I mean, they've got Moreno, haven't they? And there's a few, haven't they? That I do recognise some names, don't you? You think
they've got Coquelin, haven't they? And they've got who's the Chelsea Aurier.
Aurier, they got an ex-United player as well, haven't they? I can't remember who it is.
Okay.
Yeah. But the fact is that the Villarreal have got a very good squad, and I show them the respect due to them. And
I can't see them winning the Champions League, but as you say, to get where they've done it as the underdog, and everyone loves an underdog, don't they? They come in and they do what they do. They defend well. But
do you think that an English team, as Roger said, do you think
will
win the Champions League?
I think there's too much indifference in Man City to the Champions League. For some reason, it doesn't seem to be a priority to them, and I don't know why.
Yeah.
Liverpool...
Welcome to UPL window cleaning, by the way. Thank you so much for coming in. And yes, Aurier was at Spurs. Yes.
Spurs, yeah.
Chelsea didn't want to say Spurs. We see you.
Please continue, Keith. Sorry.
The dark horse in all of this is probably Atletico.
Yeah.
Because Simone has been desperate to get his hands on that trophy for a while, and has had a couple of near misses in the final. And I wouldn't put it past Atletico to do a number on City tonight, and I wouldn't put it past them to go all the way.
The way,
possibly.
Yeah.
I just think that I think Real Madrid are too erratic. And I think Atletico, I don't know, they're just cunning, aren't they? They just seem to know how to put the cat amongst the pigeons, don't they? They have this. They've broken the dominance of Barca and Real in Spain by winning the Liga, and I think they are a dark horse, and a lot will depend on what happens tonight, of course, because City could go and steamroll them. But if they get through, I wouldn't bet against them.
Okay, so obviously as we said, we've had two games already. Real Madrid and Villarreal, two Spanish sides, are now into the next round. We've got Liverpool versus Benfica and Atletico versus Man City tonight. Can I please get your predictions for the Liverpool Benfica game? I'll start with you, Keith. What do you think the score will be in that game?
I think Liverpool will win 2-0.
Wow.
And Chris, what do you think for the Liverpool Benfica game?
A scrappy 2-1 probably win to Liverpool.
I think that obviously the game is at Anfield. I think that Liverpool will wipe the floor with Benfica.
It's different 11.
Who?
Ever so slightly. VVD's not playing.
Okay.
Playing, so there's a couple of tweaks here and there.
Oh, is Gomez in instead?
Gomez is in at left.
And who? Okay, so it's Gomez and the other young lad.
Tsimikas.
And Tsimikas, right? Okay, Tsimikas is not a bad player.
Yeah.
Okay, so we also have Atletico, as we've said, against Man City. Apart from a one bit of genius, one goal separates the two teams. We've seen a lot of the, if you've seen the press conference today, obviously Simone, he knows how to speak to. I don't know if you heard he said fish only get caught when they open their mouths. So he was like basically saying, I don't talk to you guys if I don't need to, because I know you're looking for me to to catch me out in something. So I say nothing. And he's very smart. He doesn't shake hands with the guys, at the end when they play. He's very set in his ways, and he's built up a very strong third team in Spain, because obviously the big two was Real Madrid and Barcelona. He got in between all of them and has won La Liga. So they are definitely a good team, definitely a team that is worth showing respect to. I don't think for a second that Man City won't show them respect. But what's your prediction for that game between those two teams? Where do you think it's going to go? Do you think it'll be tight, or do you think it'll be a very open game?
Well, no game with Atletico is open, is it? So I'm going to go. I'm going to go with an Atletico 1-0 win, and I think it will go to penalties.
Okay.
And
so when you say have I seen the starting lineup, what game are we talking? Are we talking about the Atletico Man City or the Liverpool Benfica game? If it's the Liverpool game, yeah, then obviously Chris has just mentioned that the lineup is slightly different. I still think that Benfica are not strong enough to beat Liverpool.
Is Van Dijk injured?
No. Because of the
FA.
we play again on Saturday, don't we?
Right.
And
you play City, don't you?
Play City.
So, yeah, so you're resting. So, which is not necessarily a bad thing. Man City don't have that luxury. That's the only difference. Is that their game is such that they can't rest key players.
But their squad's deeper.
Their squad is deep. That's true. They do. Squad. Yeah, I agree with that.
I think he'll be all right.
Yeah. So, Chris, where do you think it's going to go? Because obviously, do you think it'll be tight? Do you think it'll be an open affair? What do you think the score will be?
Honestly, it depends which of the two teams turn up, because Atletico have not impressed me in the Champions League at all this season.
Okay.
They haven't. They needed us to get a result against AC to even get out of the group.
Yeah.
And if they've got through, I don't think they didn't impress me against United. In the first leg, no shots on target. I just don't know which Atletico turns up. If they decide to try and go for it, I think City just absolutely batter them. But then it's what City turns up, because Atletico have the European pedigree. Talking about.
Remember what did I say about showing too much respect for the pedigree?
Yeah, I really don't know. I probably will sit on the fence and say it goes as a draw and City go for it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So that is the Champions League roundup. I'm looking forward to Sunday when we recap on the games tonight. It'll be interesting to see what happens, and obviously moving forwards, we have another big game with some FA Cup.
Excuse me for just a minute.
Yes, by all means, yes. So
yeah. So Johnny, in the comment was in regard to the Liverpool starting lineup.
Yes, sorry. So I wasn't aware of VVD not playing, and obviously their wing backs being rested for the Man City game. So, but I still think even with those players rested, that Liverpool will still be very, very hard to beat at Anfield, and I think that they may not be playing, but I would imagine they're on the bench if there is an issue. I mean, he can rely on them if need be. Right. Okay. So, sorry. Go on, Chris.
Yeah, no. Go on. Carry on.
No, what I was going to say was, obviously we've talked about the Champions League. I wanted us to talk about the Champions League new format.
Oh, boy.
And it's really changed, and I don't know if you've been able to have a look at it, but I've just written down some notes. So the what they want to do is change it in the 2024-2025 season, and they're going to go from 32 clubs, and they're going to add 4 more clubs to make it 36. So that was where we were talking earlier on about the coefficiency and this, that, and the other, and what teams would benefit if they did have pedigree, they would benefit from that rule. But what's interesting, and I think this is almost UEFA kind of taking away a little bit of the thunder of the Super League, because according to the new system, it won't be 4 teams in a league playing each other twice anymore. it's going to be a league of 10 teams. Sorry, you will play 10 teams. You'll play 5 games at home. You'll play 5 games away from home. Now imagine that. That's very much like what earlier on at the beginning of the season the Super League was talking about. Big leagues playing top quality teams all playing together. Now obviously it's going to be for a few more years, but I'm just going to quickly go through, and then we'll go through. I'll just go through the notes I've got, and then we'll sort of break it down slightly. So we're talking about there's obviously slot 1, slot 2, slot 3, and 4, and each team, so one of the additional places will go to a club that's rated 3rd in the championship of the association, 5th position in the UEFA National Association ranking. That's a lot of gobbledygook, but we'll break that down. Slot 2 is awarded to the domestic league, which is extending it from 4 to 5 teams. So it won't be 4 potentially qualifying, but it'll be 5 teams potentially qualifying. Slot 3 is 2 clubs with the highest coefficiency that have not qualified for either the Champions League qualification phase or Europa League. Now, this is where I think it gets quite interesting. In the last 16, so once you've got through all of those preliminary rounds, in the last 16, the top 8, they are the ones that will advance automatically. So of the 36 teams that will be there, the top 8 teams are the ones that will automatically qualify. Then if you are 9th up to 24th, you will be put into, you will be put into a playoff. You will have to play off to make it to play against those other 8 teams. Now, those who finish between 9th and 16th, so obviously 9 to 24 play in the playoffs, but if you end up being between 9th and 16th, they are seeded, and they will play in the draw, meaning that they will face whoever was 17th to 24th. And the home advantage is in the second leg. So they'll play away first game, at least they get home advantage for the second leg. Teams who finish lower than 25th will be eliminated, and they won't be put into the Europa League. That's it. That's their European season over. So it's important that they are going to need to get in the top 8. If they don't make the top 8, then they are going to have to make sure they get through the playoffs. Now, the 8 clubs that prevail in the playoffs, they will progress. So those 8 teams that win will play the 8 that originally qualified. And then from that moment on, it becomes normal again. So from that point, it's normal 8 teams playing 8 teams, and then it goes through to the obviously to the final. Now, the reason why I wanted us to talk about that was because obviously at the beginning of the season, we had major issues with breakaway, Super League, and this, that, and the other. And I don't know if you know what happened with the Super League, but can you not see it's very similar with the format, that maybe they're trying to take away some of the thunder, or maybe trying to take away some of the impetus, because technically the Super League still exists. I don't know if you knew that, but it still exists.
Yeah, it's going to be a cozy little 3-team event with Barcelona, Juventus, and Real Madrid, isn't it? So,
yes. But this new format for the Champions League, do you think it's something that will work? Do you like the idea of it? Do you think it's something that will be good, or would you rather we just left it as it was with the 32 clubs and we battle it out? Or do you think adding an extra 4 clubs, making it more interesting as a league, 5 home games, 5 away games, you don't know who you're going to play, potentially makes it more enjoyable? What's your impression of of the whole new format that potentially will be coming in 2024?
Keith, do you want to go? Or
yeah, I will. Yeah, I don't mind.
Yeah,
it's the biggest load of rubbish I've ever come across in my entire life. It's. Do you know what? Back in the day, I used to play a video game on my PC, a computer video game called Sensible World of Soccer. Do you remember that game?
Yeah.
Right. And in that game, you could design your own competitions, right?
Yeah.
You could design whatever format you wanted, right? It's the sort of nonsense I would design. I mean, as an 8-year-old, you know what I mean? It was just, it's absolute nonsense. You can't, how can you have a league where you don't play everybody?
Yeah, exactly.
How does that, So what? So what if one team gets in and all of their 10 fixtures are against the top 10 seeded teams, and another team gets in and they play against all?
Yeah, but
who decides what games you play?
Well, that's the thing. The slots. So there's 4 slots, and depending on, so like where we just saw the World Cup teams being picked, they had 4 bowls. Slot 1, slot 2, slot 3, slot 4. I'm assuming that if you're in slot 1, you won your league. If you're in slot 2, you were in second, third place. And
so does that mean if you're in slot 1, you don't get to play another league winner?
No, because according to this, you potentially will play bigger teams that may well, because obviously you will play other teams, other domestic league winning teams. That's from what I get. I get the idea that they're trying to make it more enjoyable and more, there's been more excitement in the sense that, potentially, if Chelsea won the league, they could potentially play Juventus, who won the Italian league.
But it doesn't seem to. It's like stopping the league after 10 games.
Yeah.
Doesn't make any sense. It makes no sense to me whatsoever. And then having this playoff situation, so you can be 24th in the league, and you could potentially have the same chance of winning the competition as the team that finishes 9th.
Yeah. So,
what? I can't get.
You understand? It's basically trying to get more. So it's going to be more inclusive because there'll be more.
Let's keep it 100 here. It's inclusive because in terms of what they have right now, right? The teams who historically have been the best and so on and so forth now maybe don't have the same amount of money as teams that are being bankrolled. So they are deemed to be failing, right? Yeah. So we have to extend this out so some of those historic names can stay in. Let's keep it honest. Benfica, Ajax, teams that have won the Champions League, or what should we call it? Is it Champions League? European Cup? Right? European Cup. Right? Cup Winners' Cup. They would not get in this. Let's keep it honest. It's for teams that I won't have a go at the English teams, but let's say it's for the PSGs of this world, right? Who have no heritage, but they have money. So they have now taken the place of somebody else because their coefficient and the fact, how well they've done in the recent past means that they will be in and a historic team will be out. If we looked in England, at any point in time, right, if we looked at the last 10 years, Liverpool, Man United, Arsenal have all been outside of the top 4, right? Yeah. But traditionally would be deemed as some of the biggest clubs in this country. But because we haven't done well, we've fallen outside of what is deemed the top 4. If they don't do this, you can see that continuing to happen. Because now, look at this season. If West Ham were to get into the top 6 and this thing was in place, they'd say, West Ham don't have enough European pedigree. The team in 7th, who could be, I don't know, and please take it as it's intended, could be United, could be Arsenal, whoever, they would put them in. And I know how that feels.
But then what you end up with is a Man United or an Arsenal team that are 6th in their league.
Yes. So
they're not playing well.
No.
Going into the Champions League against Europe's elite.
This is it.
Do you know what? If United spend we're going to come to United, I know, but if United spend a year out of Europe next season, good, because we don't play like we don't deserve it. You know what I mean? It's not. It doesn't. I don't see how it benefits anyone. It just. I don't know.
Well, I mean, obviously, I know that I was going to mention it earlier, but I didn't want to cut in. I think it's very true. Obviously, it's all about more fixtures for the broadcasters and hence more money. Yes, we know that ultimately increasing the size of the Champions League, wouldn't it be great? And I think it was mentioned earlier on that I think it was here where it says the Champions League should just be champions. But obviously, it would be a small tournament. Because obviously,
good.
But keeping in mind that champions of Bulgaria would not beat the bottom team in the Prem. So I understand why they want to make it more inclusive. Obviously, there's going to be more money involved. I get that.
And the best
The
half a
champion,
dozen teams in Europe come from 4 leagues.
yes, that's true. Yeah,
That's the truth.
But isn't this designed to even out the money, even it out? Because now teams that may not necessarily have qualified previously will now be able to take part in this competition and then get a bite of the pie of the revenue.
No. And I've done it again, haven't I? I've done it again. Sorry. No.
I love it.
I stand by what I said. Yeah. For me, the comment that's there about it should just be the champions, because it's the Champions League. You want to get the most prestigious and richest clubs into a tournament. If you look at since they expanded the Champions League, that weakened the UEFA Cup. Because the UEFA Cup was the harder tournament to win, because it was made up of the second, third, and fourth teams, and then second, third, and fourth teams in each European league, and they came in to play each other. Then you had the Cup Winners' Cup. They decided actually we'll expand the Champions League, and all the other fluff will get into these other tournaments. We'll get rid of Cup Winners' Cup. If they went back to the original format, champions only, right? That you can then share the pot there. But some teams will argue, and let's take, for example, Real Madrid will say, why should we get the same money as Fenerbahce, who are champions of
Turkey,
Hungary? They don't put bums on seats. They don't bring in the sponsorship, right? Liverpool came third last year. If we played them, there's more money in it. So, of course, there's a problem here. You can't just say we're going to do Champions League for just the champions, because the traditional champions may not actually make it that year, and then you have a problem.
So just quickly, Roger said, I think it was Bob Paisley who said the hardest thing in winning the European Cup was winning the English Championship. Good point. Very, very good point.
And that's why Nottingham Forest have 1 league title and 2 European Cups.
There it is.
There it is. Yeah, very, very true. So in conclusion, I get the impression that you're not buying this proposal for the new Champions League format.
Well, the other question that I'd ask is that the Champions League, to me, isn't broke. If last night proves anything, there's nothing wrong with it. It's an exciting competition that puts the biggest clubs in Europe together. I'm on board with the top 4 teams because of the fact that, that's where the best teams are. But I don't see, this is just a really unnecessary, convoluted bit of nonsense to me. I don't see how it...
Well, keeping in mind, obviously, increasing the number of teams. As I said, I did say earlier on, I do think that this has got Super League links to it, because obviously they want to... They want the clubs that actually wanted to break away want more money ultimately, don't they? They want more market share. They want more money, and I think that UEFA have pretty much said we need to move with the times.
I believe this proposal was on the table before the Super League, though.
Yes, it was.
Oh, right, okay. So I didn't know that, but if that's the case, the Super League has kind of gazumped them and said, look, this is what we want to do. Some of the biggest clubs in Europe were okay with it. They wanted to, the biggest clubs and Tottenham were a part of this.
Oh dear. Oh dear.
The biggest clubs in Europe and Tottenham took part in this, right?
We actually need a Super League show. We need to have a
okay
show.
well then maybe that's what we need to do. We'll get all the gang and we'll just have a discussion and we'll talk about that.
Why were Leicester not invited? Why were Everton not invited?
Lack of pedigree.
Whoa, Leicester have won more. They've won how many Premier Leagues? Same as Liverpool.
Well, yeah.
So no disrespect, and look, I don't want to turn off any Tottenham fans here, but why are they invited to the table and not Leicester? Leicester won the FA Cup season, did they not?
Yeah. Well, that's another thing. Actually, do you remember we spoke about this? That there was talk of. Sorry, I've got a sore throat. There was talk of giving a Champions League spot to the winner of the FA Cup.
Oh, unnecessary.
As long as that winner's not West Ham.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's the sticking point, isn't it? As long as they have coefficient.
But isn't that a really good carrot?
No.
You win the FA Cup.
No.
You win the FA Cup, and your coefficiency is correct, and you have the degree. You get into the Champions League.
It's still that close.
You're in a minority here, Johnny.
Yeah, it's still that close. Look, basically,
as the host, I sit on the fence of neutrality, but I also sit on the fence of playing the devil's advocate. Pardon my.
Yeah, no, well, I understand. And
what I'm saying is that I think that part of discussion is asking those questions and finding out why. Why is this new format, which will include 4 more teams rather than leagues of 4? It's going to be a ginormous. I don't know how this. Each team plays 5 home games, 5 away games. They'll be decided from slot, lot 1, lot 2, lot 3, lot 4, and it may potentially be a good thing.
Let's throw this out. And I'm going to be straight up honest, because actually Roger he's taken my line of thought as well.
Wigan.
It's fine when Arsenal, Liverpool, Man City, Chelsea, when they win it, it'll be fine. Yeah. When we win it, we'll say, no, they're not good enough, and we'll use coefficient. No, for me, be fair. If you're not going to give it to Wigan, then nobody should have it. It shouldn't happen at all. Because at the end of the day, it's still a closed club. Why should Wigan win it and not get to the Champions League? They got relegated, fair enough, but why they won the FA Cup? If we're going to say give them that carrot, give it to them. But we won't. It's for the teams who, like Liverpool, we can't spend as much as others, right? So there's sometimes, we've been there, I've been there, right? Where my team can only pick up the odd trophy here and there. But because of prestige and what we've done in the past, winning that one thing will allow us to go back into this exclusive club. No, to me, earn it. I feel if you win it, earn it, get in. You shouldn't just try and keep everything closed off.
The rules have got to be consistent for everyone.
Okay.
Absolutely.
So, gentlemen, obviously we do only have a short period of time left before we go our separate ways and watch the Champions League games. The last thing I wanted us to talk about, and this is where I bring Keith very much to the forefront, is all the talk at the moment is of Ten Hag leaving Ajax and coming to Manchester United. I know that we initially, earlier on this morning, we were talking about Pochettino, but it seems like he has fallen down the pecking order for whatever reason. So it does look as if Manchester United will eventually relieve what's his name? The Man United Ranić of his, whatever it is that he does, and put Ten Hag in place as the coach. What's your take as a Manchester United fan? Do you think that Ten Hag is that guy? He is what Manchester United needs to move on to the next phase and get them back into Champions League spot and becoming and challenging for the Premier League.
So the question that's been on most of the ex-players' lips this week has not been, is Ten Hag right for Man United, but is Man United right for Ten Hag? Because he is walking into a situation that he has got to walk into with his eyes open.
Yeah.
We have got people in places above the management at United, directors of football. We've got uncertainty over the managing director, whatever Woodward is,
Yeah, Edward Wood.
The guy that's coming in seems to be again a non-football guy, and there are worries about the whole infrastructure of the club. Do I think Ten Hag's a good coach? He obviously is, because he's winning leagues with Ajax. And all right, I know the Dutch league perhaps isn't what you'd call an elite European league, but you know, they're no mugs, and he obviously has a good heritage Dutch football, and his links with people like Van der Sar and different ones like that. Obviously, there's a strong football heritage there. But the question is he going to be given the platform at United to succeed? And unfortunately, and again, it comes back down to money. Getting out of the Champions League, as we won't be in the Champions League next season. Let's be honest. Let's call it as it is. We're not going to do it. Costs you potentially, that's around £70 million.
Yeah.
Once you get to the latter stages of the Champions League. So the question is are the Glazers prepared? How many seasons can the Glazers go without that windfall coming in to sustain the way that the ownership of the club is structured, servicing the debt that's secured on the club, and all of that?
Yeah.
What they keep looking for with managers and with signings is quick fix solutions to get United back into the Champions League, because that becomes the golden ticket, if you like, to sustaining what they do. So it means that we constantly take this short-term view, and it goes backwards and forwards. Beginning of this season, and I like to go against the grain, because I don't think Ole Gunnar Solskjaer did a terrible job at United. He got United into the top 3 2 seasons running. No manager before him did that. Van Gaal didn't do that. Mourinho didn't do that. They both had at least one season finishing outside the top 4. Solskjaer didn't. And he was building something. And we get to the beginning of this season, and there were 2 or 3 things that happened. We brought in Varane and Sancho to a team that finished second. So you think, well, that's strengthening it. But then when we talk about the signing of Ronaldo, the emphasis then goes back to, Alex Ferguson made a phone call to stop him going to City. Yeah. And you think, well, what's Alex Ferguson got to do with recruiting players? And why was Ronaldo a player that Solskjaer wanted? Because the way United play, we got rid of Lukaku because he wasn't mobile enough. So why bring in Cristiano Ronaldo when you've got, and I'm in no way unhappy that he's here, because he does score goals, but you think Solskjaer got railroaded there, I think. And I don't think he was strong enough to say, actually, no, he's not the player I want. And then we've got this situation where there's this obsession with the way Liverpool play, this high press, high energy, intensity, getting the faces of the defenders. Not something that traditionally associated with the way United plays. So you've got this whole situation where, again, tactics are being decided other than by the manager. With the reason we brought Ranieri in, because apparently he invented this whole system that Klopp uses, And it's like, hang on a minute, somewhere along the line, the manager is being undermined in every way, shape or form, with transfers, with how the team needs to play. It all fell apart for Solskjaer because his situation became untenable, because we had a situation where he couldn't drop Ronaldo because you don't buy Ronaldo and then put him on the bench.
Have him playing, yeah.
He had to try and copy this Liverpool model, even though that probably wasn't the way he was setting the team up. And it all kind of fell apart around him. So with Ten Hag, I don't know enough about Ajax to know how he plays. But either the board have got to leave him alone. And when I say leave him alone, I mean leave him alone for 4 or 5 years to build something. Because if they don't, we'll be in the same situation 2 years down the line. Manchester United
are not going to have 4 years of wilderness.
No.
They don't. That's their model.
Because of the commercial side of the club. Yeah. So they're going to be looking at the situation next summer and saying in the summer, right, who are we bringing in? Who's going to get us back in the Champions League next season? And it's going to be all about that. And it's not going to be about, I mean, when Klopp first, I'll ask you, Chris, when Klopp first came to Liverpool, now we're talking 2000, if memory serves, 2015, right? Where did Liverpool finish that year?
No, it wasn't very well, was it?
Say that again?
Where did Liverpool finish in the league that year?
8th. We made two cup finals that year, but we came 8th in the league.
How long was it before you were back in the Champions League under Klopp? Was it
the next season? So we lost those 2, and then we came 4th on the final day of the next season.
Oh, you picked Chelsea, didn't you?
Oh, I don't know who we picked.
I remember. Oh, yeah. I can't remember.
And you've been in the Champions League ever since.
Since then.
But Klopp was given time to move out the players that were without this obsession with you have to be in the Champions League or you're out on your ear.
Yeah.
He was given a chance to actually build, because it's only really been in the last 2 or 3 years that this kind of style of play that Liverpool have got has really come to the fore. He's really got the personnel there that will play the way he wants them to play.
Yeah.
And I just think with United, if we want to follow the Liverpool model, which seems to be the obsession with the way that everybody wants to copy it, you have to be prepared to go. You know, Roger made the comment on Sunday that United were going backwards. I would argue we're going round in circles. We keep getting to this stage where we kind of get to a point where it's almost there and the team's good, and then it all falls apart again because we're thinking short term in terms of signings and in terms of we're not developing young players. And even when young players start to do well, if they're not bringing it instantly, they're being sidelined. And and that classic example of that was when Rashford first came into the squad. And Martial, we had them. They looked like the future. What does Mourinho do? He comes in and brings Zlatan Ibrahimovic. He's 36, and it wasn't the future, but instantly was going to get United back in the Champions League. But it's that mentality that just seems to permeate the club.
Then isn't that you mentioned it earlier on? That's from the top, because ultimately the managers, when they come in, they're given a remit of what they've got to do, what they've got to achieve, and I'm pretty sure with every manager who's come in since Sir Alex, well, maybe David Moyes was told he had to win the league, but so aside from him, I think everybody else has been told you've got to at least make Champions League. So if you've got to make Champions League, you're gonna have to get a certain caliber of player to get you there. Whereas I think because you're also Man United, when players are being linked with other clubs, United's name is always going to be there. And that doesn't necessarily mean that they should be joining Man United. Actually, you're better off getting a certain type of player because, in all honesty, certainly for my generation and those around me, we remember the team of 92 or the class of 92, they say, where you had 6 or 7 core players, all of the same age, and everybody's thinking that that's going to come again, and it might not. You look at Liverpool, it's been that way where he's been able to get 2 or 3 at a time. I get 2.
Yeah, that was a unique situation that doesn't happen very often.
It doesn't, but I think a lot of people think that if you spend and you get 6 players in, you can mold them into that team of 92, the class of 92. You can make them play a certain way, all come through together and whatever. And I think you got to get the pieces right, if that makes sense.
But if you stop and think about it, if you look at every championship winning team, going back to the beginning of the Premier League, it rests on 4 players for me.
Yeah.
It's 4 players. You've got to have a goalkeeper.
Yeah.
Who is not only a good shot stopper, but is a
leader.
Player that commands respect at the back 4.
Agreed.
Yeah. You've got to have a central defender.
Yes.
Who's a leader.
Yes.
And who leads. And again, doesn't have to be the best player.
No.
But he's got to be a leader. He's got to be a presence at the back.
Yeah.
You've got to have a central midfield player who dictates.
Yes.
Who dictates the play and who drives forward with the ball, who leads the team on. And you've got to have a 20-goal a season striker.
Agreed.
You need those 4. So if you go back, United team of the 90s, Schmeichel, Steve Bruce, Paul Ince, Mark Hughes, filled those. The Arsenal team, David Seaman, Tony Adams, Patrick Vieira, Thierry Henry. You go to the Chelsea team, Czech, Terry, Michael Essien, Didier Drogba. You can go through every team. The City team, Joe Hart, Company, Yaya Toure, Sergio Aguero. Every team has those 4. They're not the most creative players, but the glue that holds everything together. And the Liverpool team have got it now with Alisson, Van Dijk, you could say Fabinho and Jota.
Yeah.
You know, the fancy players around the edge, like Salah's and your creative players, but you've got to have that core.
Yeah.
And then you look at United and you think, right, we're reliant. We've got a good goalkeeper.
Yeah, I agree.
But we're reliant on Harry Maguire.
Yeah, I'm not. Yeah, but you've got Varane.
You've got Varane, who could become.
I think that Varane. I don't think.
Injured.
I feel that I'm about to say he's been injured.
Okay.
And I don't think he.
Is Fred Roy Keane?
No,
Vieira.
Pogba. Got Pogba.
But I don't think. I don't think he's that guy. Not.
And if you're relying on Pogba for that role,
that
gives you that tells you everything you need to know about where.
But you know what, right? I know it sounds odd, but speaking of Pogba in a Juventus shirt just seemed more of a beast than he does in a United shirt. He's not. He was feared in Serie A. But he's not. He's kind. Sorry.
Vidal and Pirlo.
Yeah. He did that. He was surrounded by good quality players. But guys, I'm very conscious of the time. I know we could talk about this, and I believe this is a subject we're going to have to come back to.
I think we should. Keith, you made some really good points.
But in summary, Ten Hag will only be as successful as he is allowed to be.
Yeah. And Chris, I wanted your opinion on it, Chris, but I know you want to watch the game. Yeah. But I did want your opinion on the United. Can I ask it?
I agree with Keith.
Yeah.
In that if Ten Hag has verbally agreed, I think he's been told he's going to get what he wants. Right? I think because Man United don't want to have to go time. Say that again.
You said that you think he will be given what he wants, but do you think he'll get the most important thing, time?
Yes. I tell you why. When you look at his career, he's been on an upward trajectory, right? He has never gone sideways. He's never gone backwards. He's always gone upwards, forwards. Man United come calling. You don't have to leave your current job, right? Because you're on an upward trajectory. You could wait and get another job. You say to United, I want X, Y, Z, right? And then I want time. And they say, yeah, you're gonna get it, because they have tried other ways. His football, his brand of football, style of football with the teams he's had in the past, right?
Yeah.
It's brilliant. Ajax, they're a brilliant team. Yeah, they got knocked out by Benfica, but they're a good team. Yeah. Good. It's just that every time they keep getting their players plucked away. But he plays a good brand of football, right? He's a really good coach from what I hear, good man management. I think United, if they let him do what he's got to do, like, Keith made the point about letting Klopp get on with it.
Yeah.
If you decide that this is your manager and you let him make the team in his DNA, you could get fireworks. He could become a problem in time.
Okay. Right. Well, guys, Chris and Keith, thank you so much for coming in for more sport again. 12, I really do appreciate you. Thank you so much for your key points. Guys, if you are new to us, please would you hit the thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. We have shows every Wednesday and Sunday at 7 p.m. where we have a panel of different speakers representing different clubs. If you like what you hear, please come in and hang out with us again. Sunday, 7 p.m. will be the next show. Guys, if you want to say anything else before we end the show tonight?
Keith?
I'm all good. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And to you as well, Chris. It has been a blast, as per usual. Another great show. Thank you so much, guys, and we'll see you in the next show. Take care.